In 2013, John Green, author of The Fault in Our Stars, gave an inspiring yet very real commencement speech at Butler University. It is entitled The True Hero's Errand, and is funny, sad, and very John Green. Congratulations to all of you here today, and I do mean all of you. Parents, friends, families, professors, coaches, everyone in Hinkle today has done something to make this moment possible for the class of 2013. Well, except for me. I really just showed up and put on the rope. But special congratulations to you graduates. Now before we get to the life advice you'll soon forget, I would like to engage in a time-honored tradition of American commencement addresses. Think of some of the people who have helped you, people without whose care and generosity you might not see yourself here today, graduating from Butler, or seeing a loved one graduate, or seeing your students graduate. Those people are so proud of you. We will return to those people soon. First, I'm supposed to give some advice on how to live a good life in the so-called real world. But I can give advice on how to live a good life unless and until we establish what constitutes a good life. I would just note that the default assumption is that the point of human life is to be as successful as possible, to acquire as much fame or glory or money as possible in quantifiable metrics. Number of Facebook friends or Twitter followers or dollars in one's 401k. This is the hero's journey, right? The hero starts out with no money and ends up with a lot of it, or grows up an awkward girl and becomes the vampire mother, or grows up an ugly duckling and becomes a beautiful swan, or grows up an orphan living under the staircase and becomes the wizard who saves the world. We are taught that the hero's journey is the journey from weakness to strength. These stories are wrong. I'm here today to tell you that the real hero's journey is the journey from strength to weakness. And here's the good news nestled inside the bad. Many of you, most of you, are about to make that journey. You will go from being the best informed, most engaged students at one of the finest universities to being the person who brings coffee to people, or a steak and shake waiter as I once was. No matter what you're doing, whether you're a software designer, a basketball player, or a pharmacist, you're about to be a rookie. And your parents long asked questions, what exactly does one do with a degree in anthropology, will have a sudden and profound relevance. Your student loans will come due, and you'll need a very good reason to why exactly you went to college, an answer to which you're going to have a hard time finding as you sit at your job, if you're lucky enough to find a job, and suffer the indignity of being called the wrong name, or, if you are forced to wear a name tag, the right name too often.
Transition step? Is
Well,
it?
there's you are going to make that journey from strength to weakness. And because you went to college, you will be more alive to the experience, better able to contextualize it. And maybe, if you're lucky, you will be able to find the joy and wonder hidden amid the dehumanizing drudgery. But you are still probably going to be a nobody for a while. You will make that journey from strength to weakness. And for the rest of your life, if you can remember your journey from college grad to underling, you will be less of a jerk. You will tip well. You will empathize. You will be a mentor and a generous one. In short, you will be like the kind of person you imagined in silence just a few minutes ago. Let me submit to you that this is the actual definition of a good life. You want to be the kind of person that other people who may not even be born yet, will imagine at their own silences and their own commencements years from now. We are taught that the people to admire and emulate are the sports heroes, actors, musicians, and professionally famous people. But when we look at actual people who have actually changed lives, relatively few of them are ever publicly celebrated. So with that in mind, I'd like to share some of what I believe to be rock-solid advice about proper adulthood or whatever. First, do not worry too much about your lawn. You will soon find out, if you haven't already, that every adult American devotes a tremendous amount of time and money to the cultivation of an invasive species called turfgrass that we can't eat. I encourage you to choose better obsessions. Keep reading. Specifically, read my books, ideally in hardcover. But keep reading other books too. Because you've probably figured out by now that education isn't really about grades or getting a job. It's primarily about becoming a more aware and engaged observer of the universe. If that ends with college, you're rather wasting your one and only known chance at consciousness. And lastly, be vigilant in your struggle toward empathy. I remember a few years after I graduated, I was living in Chicago with four guys, one of whom was a Kuwaiti guy named Hassan. Now, when the U.S. invaded Iraq, Hassan lost contact with his family, who lived on the border, for 6 weeks. So he responded to this stress by watching the 24-hour news coverage of the war. Basically, the only way to hang out with him was to sit on the couch and watch the news. So one day we were sitting on the couch, and the news anchor said, "We're receiving new footage from Baghdad." And as he explained the anger on the Arab street, the camera panned across a house with a huge hole in it, covered up with a piece of plywood. On the plywood was Arabic graffiti scrawled in black spray paint. I put one of the parts in the wrong spot. As the news anchor explained the anger on the Arab street, Hassan burst out laughing for the first time in several weeks. "What's so funny?" I asked him. Graffiti said, "What's so funny about it? It says, 'Happy birthday, sir,' despite the circumstances." For the rest of your life, you will have a choice about how you read graffiti in a language you do not understand, and you will have a choice about how you read the actions and annotations of the people you meet. I encourage you to choose the "Happy birthday, sir," despite the circumstances option as much as possible. I know this is difficult to think that people with lives different and distant from our own even celebrate birthdays, much less with gifts of graffiti plywood. You will always be stuck in your own body, seeing the world through your own eyes. But that is the challenge and the beauty of education. See other people as they see themselves, and to grapple with this strange and beautiful and mean world and all of its baffling complexity. We haven't left you the easiest path, I know, but I wish you a very happy graduation, sir, despite the circumstances.